A revision
As a
is a potential.
possibility. And so I think the village presented a possible
Reconfiguration, but it's not something they've submitted formally.
Yeah, that's a
Just
good word.
they're willing.
Reconfiguration. Yeah. So maybe take out the word revised and say, yeah. Does that work better, Jean?
Yes,
And then
thank you.
I think we have to, these materials have not been formally submitted. You have to also copy that and put it down the bottom. With,
Okay.
is it number 63?
This
Yes.
one.
So, and then instead of saying shared, I think you should say
Presented.
informed the council that 2 resolutions. Yes. Have been passed since the July 21st meeting, or whatever the date is. I don't know if it's
That is right. Yeah.
okay.
Weirdly. Exactly 1 month ago.
Could we scroll back up to 60 so I can see that?
Yep. Oh, sorry.
Regarding the health impacts of the turf field, there was testimony that there has been no environmental impact study of the impact of a turf field in this particular area. Is that correct? And is that enterable into this resolution?
My understanding
That is correct.
there is none required as a result of the funding sources.
I'm not hearing clearly. Is that?
It's Luann.
My understanding is that an environmental impact statement, while it sounds very desirable, is not legally required given the conditions associated with this application, funding sources, etc. But I would assume the state office and or our council could clarify that.
That's correct. To my knowledge, there's no reason that would have been a requirement because there's no permits required. There's no federal funding involved.
Maybe that should be said.
Yeah.
I think the public is unaware of that, and it should be part of it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Do you want it here or should it be a new?
I think it needs to be a new number.
Okay. Should it be after that? Like there?
Yeah.
Is that
right
okay?
there.
Okay. All right. So.
I just find that hard to believe that with the amount of potential change, excavation, that it's not required. Not even an assessment of how this would impact environmentally on the building itself.
And so Jennifer, if the reason is there is no federal funding and therefore the NEPA does not kick in, so to speak.
Right.
And there is no state level environmental impact
Requirement.
requirement.
Correct. To my knowledge, because there were no.
Minutes.
So yeah, we definitely would need to
Right.
be very clear about that and the limitations.
That's not what I meant. I don't know. Does that capture? I don't know if HBO needs to be in there. Just put that because I'm the one telling you that.
Yeah,
I'm happy to dig
probably
me out.
just HSC.
Okay.
Well, no, I think you can leave it actually, because that's the mutual understanding.
And that helps the public to understand it too.
So I think probably number 63 belongs up there. But just maybe change the order or include or add that to 60. They're both about this local concerns about environmental problems. And the testimony for both of those issues referred to, well, why isn't there an EIS?
Does that make sense?
They're both about environmental concerns.
Okay. I don't have any other changes. Susan,
Could we scroll up and look at all
You're on mute.
sequentially?
Want me to- Here. I don't want to make them too small, so just let me know when you want me to scroll down, Flavia.
You can scroll down now.
Okay.
I don't know why the word significant is in the number 64, as if the other entries and public testimony were not significant. I think there was considerable public testimony regarding the desire to retain the historic integrity of the site and considerable testimony about the environmental impact. So
I
thank you
I
for
think-
the change.
Yeah, and I think that may have been something that I probably said. I think we leave it out and we just say we received testimony.
Thank you.
So are you,
So-
who's that? Go ahead, Luann.
Okay, so I was just going to say, if my calculations are correct, then this proposed field is 58% larger than the grass fields that had been discussed or presented earlier to the community. And that
Do you want me
was
to-
related to item number 63.
Right.
But if we could get just absolute final figures on what the current proposal is, I could double check that.
also, further up, in the whereas clauses, do you have the actual dimensions? Because that would,
I don't, yeah, I didn't see them. I saw the dimensions for
I-
the proposed. Go ahead,
Yeah,
sorry.
I don't, I think the
wait,
plans didn't specifically show it. I think we did try to measure it, but I don't remember.
the plans didn't specifically show the,
This
for the
is,
proposed?
this is, it looks like it's approximately 240 feet by 390 feet was what we got when we measured it.
If
Off the
you-
plans.
I think they answered my question about the size of the field, which I thought they said was 360 feet by 192.
I'm sorry, give me those numbers again.
I thought when I asked them, I might have written it down
Yeah.
wrong on the size of the field. I thought they said it was 360 by 192, but I might be wrong, which is a lot larger than the design submitted back in, I think, 2022.
Right.
Yeah, then it's more than, yeah, hold on, I'll just. give
I
me
think
one second.
that size was 150 by 225.
And that sounds right.
Yes. Yeah, so 50% larger, if those figures are correct. I just think, something that gives a sense of the scale of difference in size that's being proposed, and not just to say the new one is larger than the
Right.
original.
Do you want that incorporated into 63 somehow, or is that just?
I would, unless others
Okay.
disagree.
Although that wasn't really in the testimony that we heard. It's our measurements.
Right.
So we're not allowed to find facts ourselves by doing a little math?
We just
I
worded
mean,
it.
You could note based on your based on your review of the file.
The scope of the difference?
This is good.
You may want to
I'm going,
confirm that.
if I can ask, if we can hold for 1 minute, I am going to ask those member of the public to please do not have conversations amongst yourselves in the chat. I noted that at the beginning of this process, and I am asking those that are continuing to have conversations in the chat to please stop. I don't want to see anything else in the chat about other people asking other people questions. That's not how this is going to go, and this is not the forum for that. Thank you. If we do not know the actual dimensions, we should note that the actual dimensions were not included in the application,
Agreed.
and that we only have approximations. So I am also going to address the person who continues to type in the chat. This is not a forum where the public can just ask questions to the council and we're going to answer your questions. That is not how this works. This is a process where we are reviewing our resolution, and we will not be responding to anything that the public has questions about or has further comment about. So please refrain from putting things in the chat. Thank you. I think also that if we don't have the actual dimensions, for any of these, we should just simply state that, and that, as you've written there, it's approximate,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, so is this basically okay, or does it still need some more tweaking?
I'm reading it.
I think the number 64 is somewhat redundant. When you say the need for additional athletic fields due to the increased need for additional playing fields, I think it's
Supportive.
maybe we
the
had
project.
testimony of the overuse of existing playing fields, or the crammed quality of the playing fields, but I don't know that that is expressive of what the testimony said.
Okay, and this, the only reason why I
I think
had mentioned,
that as it stands now, it's okay.
okay. I just didn't want to not mention it because we did hear a lot of people make the
Absolutely,
statement
I
in
agree.
support.
I agree, yes.
Okay. Any other changes?
So just in number 65, should it be that the village council approved 2 resolutions setting aside the money and the collaboration? Inform our council that, yeah. Because the village council is the one that approved the resolutions, right?
It's actually by the Ridgewood Public Library, sorry. Let's see. Sorry. Is that better?
Mhm.
Since we can't see the entire resolution, is there somewhere we talk about the testimony that the size of the field is reduced? Wait a minute.
I think that's 63. Talks about the size.
Yeah, but okay, so we had testimony that asked that the field be reduced in size.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So I'm not sure how you're going to incorporate that, but okay, I see you're adding a number. Okay, thank you. Easy way out.
That's in support of a smaller field at the site. Is that what you're saying? Sorry, my brain.
Yes, no, I think that's
It's hard
what
to
we
type
heard.
Okay.
To have less impact on the historic property.
Do you want to clarify grass? 'Cause I think everyone said small grass field.
Well, I think we've already talked about the grass field and the, well, if we need to reinforce that, sure, add it.
Isn't 62 and 64 the same thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So 62 could just say, which included having a smaller.
Smaller grass. There we go.
That's
How
good.
about that? All right.
Yes. You know, I have a thought because I've been so active with the restoration of Hinchliffe Stadium. I know there was a reference in the comments to the use of turf at the stadium, and I think we had a previous a presentation some couple of years ago about Goffelbrook Park. I think the concerns about environmental impact are were especially highlighted in the presentations of the public here because this is a residential neighborhood and it impacts the water quality of the actual people who live there as compared, say, with Hinchliffe Stadium, which is above the falls and has no immediate homes around it, or even Goffelbrook Park, which is downstream from the homes. So I wonder if there's some way to reflect that the neighborhood impact, water quality impact was part of the testimony here as well.
We add something to 60, like these include, or do you think it's something separate?
Yeah, I think particularly we should cite the water infiltration of especially the proposed turf field, but of any change in the character of the use of that field.
Does
By
that
the
get
way,
at your?
Excuse me, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just asking if that sort of got it. Sorry.
Yes.
If that gets at your concern. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Did we hear testimony that the Ridgewood schools have or do not have a program for visiting the Shedler House? I have a note here that says they don't, but I just want to be clear about that.
That's correct. The house has been rehabilitated, but there's been no plan for how it's going to be used. So to my knowledge, it has not been open to the public at all.
Maybe we should reference that in our statement.
I think it's in one of the whereases.
Yeah, it is.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, that it's been rehabilitated, but there's no, yeah.
Might we say that something about that, though? The testimony did not indicate any plan for a program.
You know, I think that's a good point, Flavia. And this is just me, right? Speaking my personal opinion is that the village is saying that unless we approve this plan, there will be no planning for the use of the house, its maintenance, and the development of historic programming surrounding it. That's how I'm interpreting. That may or may not be appropriate. to put in as a statement of fact?
You,
Or
more
maybe
than
more
use or
just say that there's
interpretation
no plan.
or extensive interpretation of the house. Anyway, I don't mean to interrupt you, sorry.
No, I'm finished. Thank you.
Sorry, I kind of lost what,
Well, I think we said that there is no program for interpretation or use of the house now.
Except, I would say, perhaps, Flavia, perhaps accept that outlined as mitigation
Yeah.
for approving this project.
I think that is accurate.
is that okay? Or did I?
Mitigation in the application. Okay, I think that's clear enough.
We can't use the phrase quid pro quo here. I didn't see that.
Okay, so
I think that's the unspoken assumption there, no?
are there any, do we think there's any other changes or to the whereas clauses? Do the first and the seconds accept the changes?
I accept.
I accept as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. I have no, I don't remember what it says, so Jennifer, you can.
So, yeah, so if you'll remember, we actually had two different versions. So there
Okay.
was the version in which, the original version in which we had recommended denial, and then because they had submitted the additional mitigation in the event the council felt that was acceptable, we also prepared a version that included, an approval with conditions. So, I don't know which, if you want to look at both versions, if you want to
Sure.
just talk about which way you want to go first.
Yeah, I think we should probably talk about which way we want to go first, and then kind of figure out which of the avenues we're going to pursue. So we have in the past done a conditional approval, and Kate is not here. Megan,
Yes,
are
I can help you.
Can you help me? In the past, I have had Kate read our options.
Okay, I'll go
Um,
into that page. I know what they are, but I want to read them from the rule.
thank you. And I'm asking you to please do that because the conditional approval and the denial, there's two different implications.
Right. So
Not the straight out denial, but I think there was
Temporary denial.
the temporary.
the
Thank you.
temporary denial, you are looking for specific information. Okay, so here are your choices. There's the approve with conditions, deny the application for project authorization temporarily based on such factors as the need for additional information, exploration of additional alternatives for avoidance or mitigation of the encroachment, damage, destruction, or other adverse effects. The applicant then has to respond to the department within 60 days from the date of issuance of a temporary denial. In the event that no response is received by the department within 60 days, the commissioner shall deny the application. If the applicant submits a complete response, including all information requested by the department, it shall be within the discretion of the department as to refer the additional information to the Historic Sites Council, and the department shall make a final determination within 60 days after receipt of the response. Or you can deny the application for project authorization with specific reasons thereof. Did that answer your questions?
Yeah, and then for the,
Denial?
no, the approval with conditions.
If an authorized or conditional authorized project is not, oh, that's the 5 years. I think it's the first one. That you can approve a project with conditions.
Yes,
Okay. You can authorize or consent to the encroachment with conditions. The conditions may include, but are not limited to, the placement of a preservation covenant in the deed of a property in the event of command. Oh, that's for if you're selling it. Historic American Building Survey or historic architectural engineering record through photographs. It outlines different mitigation. So that's what, you could authorize with conditions, and the conditions are mitigation.
Okay.
For the project. And the rules give specific examples of mitigation.
yeah. So I think what we have to do is we have to figure out which avenue we're going to go down, and then we kind of move on from there. So I am open to hearing feedback from the council on which way we could go, and then we will sort of make a collaborative decision. So Michelle, you want to go first?
I have a question if you don't mind about
Absolutely.
two of the options. The approval with conditions, how do those then, what is the follow-up to make sure those conditions are actually executed as part of it?
So
That's
the
one.
Can
And
I-
then the temporary denial, I'm a little confused with. Can it be requested that the applicant come back at a future meeting of the council to resubmit an application, a modified or completely revised application, so to make it transparent to the public and receive additional public comment?
Okay. So the answer to the first one, your first question, is that any conditions that would be in a approved with conditions, that information goes to the preservation office staff, and they follow up and they review that. Nothing else comes back to us. In regards to your second question, that's the tricky part of the difference between denial and denial with the temporary denial with conditions. So, and Megan is going to correct me if I'm wrong, or DAG is going to correct me if I'm wrong. But if we do a temporary denial with conditions, the conditions, and we have to outline what all of those are, that gets submitted, hopefully, and then it gets submitted to staff. And in the past, what we have done, it does not come back to the council. In the past, what we have done is that information then gets resubmitted. And in the past, we have done like there have been times we've done a subcommittee, which could be like two people maybe that would volunteer. That information would come in, and then the subcommittee then would review it and say, yes, this is acceptable. This sort of meets what we were looking for, or this is not acceptable, and then it would just be denied. The only way that it would come back to the council is if there is a straight denial. And we would say this application is denied because, and we would list all of the reasons why it would be denied, because when it goes to the commissioner needs to fully understand why we are denying the application. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
So we kind of,
But the other thing, everything for the temporary denial has to be done within 60 days
it has to be done, yes, within
of our
60 days.
receipt.
So if we ask for more information on, and that would include more information to make a better decision or to make a decision. So for instance, actual dimensions, right, would be one of them, like real decisions. I mean, real dimensions, even reevaluating based on the current plan, reevaluation, the location of the ball field in relationship to the historic building. We can ask for, so those are the type of things that we can ask for. We can ask for more information that wasn't included in the application, including, potentially what is the actual, impact environmentally, in my opinion, on the property and the building itself as a historic structure. So for instance, and then we've also kind of discussed in the past, do we really have enough information about, so we can't necessarily say that a turf field isn't necessarily the best thing. Maybe we would have to give a reason, for instance, like why the turf is not best. Or we may not feel like we have enough information to evaluate that turf is appropriate for this location. So in my opinion, if someone is asking to put a turf field on this piece of property that has a historic building on it, I think we legitimately can ask, well, what is that impact going to be to the property, to potential archaeological resources, and to the potential historic, and to the historic, potentially to the historic house, which is information that we do not have.
So just clarifying, because what we're talking about is not just the house that's
Correct.
historical
It is-
significance. It is that whole area.
Yes, it's the whole
It
area.
is
So,
not
like,
just that structure. It is that whole area.
yes, and so when we had the last meeting, that was one of the things that I had asked, because there was another parcel that has been purchased that's sort of been added on, but it's like way in the corner. The original parcel included the house and a large portion of the property that includes basically where the ball field is going. So the ball field is currently designed to go within the confines of the original boundaries of the property. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So these are all things that sort of, that we need to consider. Flavia, do you have a question or something?
Yeah, I was wondering whether they've determined where the Revolutionary battlefield was, or the encampment was that was originally there, so that in relation to the placement of the ball field. Is that
I don't think we've been provided that information.
Benny may be able to speak to that. I mean, he's at least read the archaeological reports, but I
Right.
don't want to speak.
Hi, this is Vincent from the HBO. No, during the phase 1 and supposedly during the phase 2 survey, they did not find any definitive Revolutionary War military artifacts within the areas tested. There definitely was a military engagement in close proximity to the property. It's about 400 feet to the east or south of this location. So there definitely was multiple encampments near the parcel, but so far there's no archaeological information recovered to definitively
Establish
document
that.
to establish occupation.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
And of course, the field has been radically altered since that time. It's been farmed and dug up probably multiple times. So we might not have evidence of encampment there. But how near is the battle and encampment actual site? Is it adjoining? Is it 500 feet away? Is it?
It's about 400 feet away. Route 17 bisects the property from the historic church that is on the other side of the highway. British troops did come down the road right adjacent to the house. They marched down that road.
Right.
deployed into a battle line somewhere, maybe on the property, maybe further away, and they engage the Continental Forces at the church down the street.
Thank you.
Sure.
So I'd like to say something about the archaeological resources, and this is not necessarily related to denial or not, but
Yeah.
just to reiterate that this is not a Section 106 project required by the National Register for Historic Places Act, and therefore we do not have to abide by those regulations. We can decide independently, based on that this property has significant and the potential for significant enough archaeological remains associated with the Revolutionary War and with whatever other evidences of occupation going back to indigenous, that we think it be preserved for those reasons. We don't have to say, you go to phase 1 and then you identify. If you don't find it, then you don't worry about it. You go to phase 2, you determine if it's significant. If it's significant, then you dig it up through phase 3. We're not limited by those federal requirements in terms of how we propose to preserve the archaeological record and potential archaeological record on this property.
Should that be mentioned in the resolution? Since there is the historic character of this, not just of the house, but of the area, is what is at stake. It might be wise for us to incorporate some reference to that in the resolution. I'm just saying.
Another way to think about it would be, did the application present sufficient information demonstrating that any potential archaeological resources on the property will be preserved in place?
Would you say that again?
So if we're talking about it in relation to the information that we have received, the question could be, did the application present sufficient information demonstrating that that any potential archaeological resources on the property will be preserved in place?
And some kind of construction of that idea could be part of this, the resolution, by
It could be.
that
It could be
we
mitigated.
did, like adding a 68 saying testimony did not indicate that that archaeological investigation of the property had been exhausted or something like that.
Well, I think there's already in the resolution, there's already a number that
So
discusses.
Right, and the phase 2 report still has not been submitted. And at the last meeting, a representative of the company doing the report said that their intention is to present different options for how to proceed from the phase 2. So, the archaeologists with SHPO have presented an alternative. I'm just saying we don't have to abide by what I see as limited alternatives offered under the National Register of Historic Properties Act.
Sure.
Although the act does provide for preservation in place and relocation of a project to preserve significant archaeological remains. And I also know that not everyone on the council may agree that preservation in place for any potential archaeological sites and resources is as important as other concerns that you might have about the project. This is my perspective.
Perhaps, Luann, the condition in the approval with conditions, a preservation in place option should be explicitly stated there, because they're very clear about, you know, you're going to do all of the archaeology and you're going to do the phase 2. And if you can't avoid something, you at the very least do a mitigation, but the preservation in place option, I'm not sure is explicitly stated there. And right, we don't have the phase 2 report. We have their artifact inventory, so we can, you know, like Vinny said, it's like we haven't found anything that speaks to a military skirmish or engagement. But I think that condition in the approval with condition version, I think it's pretty explicit about the steps that will be followed regarding archaeology. That's where it is. It's not in the application. The application just says they're going to monitor.
Right.
Is it within our rights to refer to a written message in the meeting chat that has just come in?
No.
Sword was,
No.
okay, all right.
No.
I just
No,
want to be
absolutely
sure.
not.
Yeah.
Do
okay.
not look at the chat. Actually close it
Thank
because it's
Thank you for,
close
all
the
right.
chat. No. No. So two things. I think that what it was presented is already reflected in the whereas clauses above. I think if we want to ask for additional information, number one, there's been archaeological reports that we still have not seen. We could request that those be submitted for review, for clarification, depending on which way we go, or we state what the additional request would be for archaeology.
Thank you.
Those are the two options. So
Yeah.
what we need to figure
So,
out.
Sophia,
Yes.
I will say that I am leaning towards denial, and I would
Okay.
welcome hearing from my colleagues who are considering acceptance with conditions, what their reasoning for doing so would be.
Okay. I would say I am also leaning towards a temporary denial with conditions. Not conditions, whatever. The temporary denial, yes, and we would provide our request for additional information, but I'm also open to hear what anyone else has to say.
Maybe we should poll the board for the moment and see whether we're on the same page.
That's fine. Flavia, do you want to tell us which way you were going?
I'm sorry?
Feeling? Which way are you leaning towards?
Temporary denial.
Okay. Jean?
Temporary denial, yes.
Okay. Michelle?
Yes, temporary denial.
Susan?
I agree, temporary denial.
Okay. So, Jennifer, do you have language started for temporary denial?
Of course, that's the one I don't have.
Why not, Jennifer? You had a whole
I should
30
have
days.
known. I should have known, right?
That's okay.
All right. So I think, well, I need this kind of something
need
or
that.
other.
Yep, you need that one.
Let's see. Temporarily deny. Temporarily deny. For the following reasons. And
Yes.
then, well, let's just, I'm going to leave some of that down there in case we want any of it later.
That's fine.
Not that you can see what it is, but I know what it is. So maybe
Is there anything that is that you already have that's
Under
you think
denial.
we're probably going to ask for?
Oh, that's
So
about, sorry, I'm just scrolling here. That's about monitoring, but we were talking about doing something more. I mean, this is, I don't know. I don't know how well any of this is going to work.
So, because I think this is now a two-part deal, unfortunately, right? So the two-part deal is that we have to lay out why we're temporarily denying it and what our additional request for information is.
Right.
In addition to that, I believe we also have to lay out what the additional requirements would be if it is not denied. So for instance, because the denial is temporary, right? So
Right.
I believe we also have to say, okay, like if all of these conditions, if all of these items are submitted, then you move on to say, okay, you still have to do, I'm just making this up, HABs documentation, we still need plans and specifications. Like I think it has to include all of that.
Right. And
But
I
you
do have,
sort of
yeah.
already started that.
right. I have that farther down. So
Okay.
let me just accept this change because I don't think we want that. I don't know if any of this part's helpful. So I guess we need the reasons why and the additional information that we need.
Yeah. So in the original application, it was proposing denial. In the original resolution, proposed denial.
Correct.
Do you have
And
that
so,
language?
do you have that language? Yeah.
So this is, here, let me all right. So this was the original conclusion. When we do a denial, we have to, say what was and wasn't proven. So
Right.
I'll just let you read it. Tell me when to scroll.
Yeah, scroll now, please. Hold.
I think 2A is still applicable.
Okay.
And maybe even 1A. One, yeah.
Gonna take all that. Sorry. I know
Nope.
that's messing with you.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I don't remember if B2B was addressed.
They went through a whole long litany of every other possibility and why they didn't want to do them.
Okay.
They didn't, but this is the thing specifically about publicly owned property that they know that they didn't. I'm not sure because not familiar enough to know whether any of those were on publicly owned property.
Right. Okay. So
They were just other fields.
there were the fields.
Right.
Can
That
you go
seemed to be
down,
the focus.
That's still,
Jennifer?
Sure. Oh yeah.
What
to the
does
next
what does that say? That therefore be resolved. Okay.
I guess one of the things that was discussed as an alternative that they're, I guess, currently doing, but was rejected by the member of the public who brought it up as unacceptable long-term, is to establish formal relationships with surrounding communities for use by Ridgewood teams on their fields. I believe reference was made to, and I'm forgetting the towns. I mean, I know the area. I'm forgetting whether it was Hohokus, Glen Rock, maybe, where they said currently we have to have some of our teams play, maybe even over in Hawthorne, And so I might want to see more about the potential for a kind of post-village approach to provision of fields and sharing of fields, and what attention has been given to that already, aside from just being on a temporary basis, and what would have to happen in order for that to be considered a viable alternative.
I think that also ties in a little bit to number 3. Oh, there's Jalen Hurts. Number
I'm sorry.
3.
Well, now you all know.
to number 3, to number 3 that's on the screen now, which is, you know, I think that's sort of maybe an A, you know, to number 3, which is sufficiently addressing the improvements. So what we heard the last time was, well, we just spent, I don't know, making up this number, $2 million to just restore another field, but instead of choosing another field to do the turf on, they're asking to do the turf on this field with this historic property. And I don't think enough information was provided in regards to why can't you really just do this on some other field where it's way more appropriate. So I kind of feel like items 1, 2, and 3 are probably relevant to our reasoning of why, and then certainly item number 3, we would ask for further information as to proving why this could not be done somewhere else. Why could the field not be smaller? You know, those types of things.
That's one thing I was going to say. I think it's a related question, just like you said, of the size of the field and or using other fields either within the municipality or in the regional area of the community. Because by going with a smaller field, it might just mean that certain sports could not be played on the field, but other sports
Absolutely.
could. So it might reduce that use. It might not, you know, in other words, it wouldn't even mean they would need a whole different field for every sport, but
Yeah.
maybe just particular ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Jennifer, I think items 1, 2, and 3, I know this has become like a little bit of a Frankenstein, but we'll get there. Items 1, 2, and 3, I think go up as far as the reasoning, and you maybe even be able to steal the line that was, oh, okay. Maybe start with those ones.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Sorry, when you saw Jalen Hurts, I was actually trying to see if I could find an old temporary denial to like look at
That's
the
okay.
language and how.
That's okay.
I don't know how to do it without everyone knowing that I'm doing. So
I know. we
everyone's
changed
seeing all
flipping
my
the
secrets.
screens.
So,
So
Did you-
what in the presentation, in the original application in relation to this issue of other fields, I remember a statement that the fields at the schools are under the Board of Education and that
Yeah.
the village council has no control over them. But it seems to me that it would be important information to know the Board of Education's position on engaging with the village to come up with a comprehensive field plan that would include maximization of the fields at the schools and perhaps village contributions of funding to improve conditions. Again, to address this as a wider plan, I think would be important. It's sort of part of what we're talking about, but it sort of specifically calls out the Board of Education properties as an area that we would like additional information on.
So that could be under number 3, a B or something like that. 3B, or if there's others
Improvements
underneath.
to other existing fields or use of fields that are already available in the municipality. Um,
Sorry, just trying to write something down here before I.
That's okay. So if you go down, Jennifer, what's still yellow?
Well, we have the prudent and feasible alternatives. So this is kind of, yeah.
Can items 1 and 2 become B and C? The village previously submitted a plan smaller. Those do not address whether smaller field could be constructed at the domain.
Oops, wrong way. Maybe we don't need that.
Okay. Okay, I think those 3 probably could stay under number 3.
I'm highlighting them. Sorry, all the colors crazy.
That's okay. I think what's number 1 and 2? I'm sorry. Oh wait, okay. And then opposed introduce audible atmospheric elements that are out of character with the register. Okay. I think reason number 4 is potential impacts, and I am not going to try to wordsmith this for our 2 archaeologists, but potential impacts to archaeological resources. And I am asking Luann and Jean to sort of help with some language there.
Well, one thing we could say is we want to see the report.
We will do that. So these first items are the reasons why, and then we're going to then list
What they have to get it.
the additional request of information. So saying something like the application does not provide sufficient information regarding the potential impacts and protection maybe of archaeological resources.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, and a plan, potential impacts to, and a plan for protecting or preserving in place.
Can I ask a question of Vinny?
Yep.
Here, it sticks in my mind that you asked for additional research, documentary research also, about Revolutionary War potential. Is that something that you already got, or is that part of this next phase report that you don't have yet?
Independent of the archaeological submissions, we received a National Register amendment focusing on the Rev War engagements and encampments that are around the property. That consultation is still ongoing to identify the limits of whatever this engagement may have been. But, you know, the submitted archaeological reports acknowledge their sensitivity on the site for this Rev War engagement to happen somewhere in proximity to the property.
Is that sufficiently addressed by the wording in the resolution now? That does not provide sufficient information? Or is that,
We could say, we could
do we want
specifically
to
call
say
out.
that? Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, we could specifically call out the Revolutionary War in that statement and say, specifically, insufficient information, has been presented to assess the potential impact on Revolutionary War landscapes and material cultural remains on the property.
I knew you'd find the words.
Very nice.
Thank
What was
you.
the last part? Landscapes and
And material culture.
material culture. Thank you.
Can I just interject? They did do a metal detecting survey or as part of the phase 1, and they did not find any military artifacts.
And Vinny, was it you or someone else that commented that the area had potentially been collected by collectors for
Correct.
military?
The
Yes,
phase
had-
1B report said they conducted the a metal detecting survey. They did not find anything. However, they noted that there were individuals prior to them on the property with metal detectors.
right,
That's the information we have.
right. And I think
Yeah.
that should be said.
I would say that's important, but it's certainly not the only kind of remains associated with.
Detectorists
the
have been
Revolutionary War.
plowing the field. Yeah.
Okay, do we also want to talk about the sufficient information about the environmental impact on, on the house, on the property of
Yes.
the turf field?
So it's the house and property, because
Property.
to remember
Yeah.
that the historic resource, it's not just the house. It is
Right,
the house and the property.
And is it just the impact of the turf field or the whole project?
I think it's the whole project, but specifically
Yeah.
the field.
The construction of the field. One of
Because
the
there's,
comments, we had testimony about the actual construction impacts, vibration testing, all these kinds of things that I didn't see in their application, that actual construction impacts on the house aren't addressed during construction.
in addition to that, the impact on the number of trees that would need to be removed to construct this project.
We certainly had information on, we had testimony on that.
Yeah.
So my question here is, like, we ask, about the impact on the number of trees. How does the process of deciding when too many trees are being proposed to be removed to make it acceptable?
I think that they would
Yeah.
need to, we would have to channel Bob and say that we would need to ask, I think, for a proper historic landscape plan to address the loss of trees and how that loss is going to be mitigated in the new plan. That is me channeling Bob.
Yes.
Well
And I
done.
think that that's including the reference to use of native species.
Yeah. Species plant, for trees and
But-
any other plantings.
For any trees that,
Yeah.
for any, in any replacement plan, replanting
Yes.
plan.
I'd like to add that the reference to Bob is to Robert Preston.
Oh, sorry, yes,
landscape
Robert Preston.
Architect in the, on the Historic Sites Council, for anyone who might be listening to this who doesn't know who Bob is,
And
And,
is a and is a
and-
historic landscape architect.
historic landscape architect who is on the Sites Council but is not present.
Correct.
Thank you.
So are we good with the 5 items? Basically describing why we are temporarily denying the application. And if we can, Jennifer, if you could just go back and maybe just read through them for us
Sure.
to make sure that we're good. And then once we're done with this, then we need to move on to, therefore, the council is requesting this additional information, and we could start to list out those items.
Okay. So we have the applicant previously provided an alternative that meets the Secretary of the Interior standards for the treatment of historic properties. The proposed multi-purpose
Can I-
athletic field. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. We need to be clear about, and you don't have to do it now, but we need to be clear about when that previous, when it went, the date of when it was actually provided. So whether it was, I think it's a 2020, but whatever the date is, it needs to be,
Yeah,
I think, specific.
I'll check that. Yeah.
And that it was formally submitted and reviewed, I think.
Right.
We provided technical assistance comments. Yes, it was never formally approved because we didn't have a final, fully developed plan, but the concept
Okay.
plan received, yes.
That did meet the standard. So I think we need to
yes.
just be clear about that.
Yes.
Because there was something that was potentially submitted for technical review that actually did meet the standard at the time.
And that's sort of reiterated in 3B.
All right, I'm going to highlight all that to work on the language, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That, yes, okay.
The proposed multi-purpose, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The proposed multi-purpose athletic field will introduce visual, audible, and atmospheric elements that are out of character with the registered property and is incompatible in size, scale, and materials with the historic property. Therefore, it does not meet the Secretary of the Interior standards for the treatment of historic properties, standards for rehabilitation. The village did not sufficiently address whether improvements to other existing fields in the municipality could address the project need, particularly in combination with the construction of a smaller grass field at the Zabriskie House. This is not really in a sentence, but Board of Education fields, coordination development of a plan to address all fields in the municipality.
So
The
I
village
think,
board,
okay, wait, hold on. I think A is gonna become an item in the next section.
Okay.
So can you copy that, kind of
Yep.
paste it downward? And then I think the text there can be changed to state that sufficient information was not provided showing potential collaboration with other field owners, which include provided sufficient information was not provided addressing collaboration with other field owners such as the Board of Education and other surrounding communities.
Okay.
Potential collaboration. And then at the end, to address the need for additional field usage. Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody? Because we have to that's the reason, and then we'll get to, this is the ask.
Right. Good. Okay. The village previously submitted a plan for a smaller natural grass field at the Zabriskie House in 2020. Oh, there it is. Through consultation with HPO staff, the village arrived at a design that met the Secretary of the Interior standards. As such, a prudent and feasible alternative to the project exists.
So you
kind
gotta
of
take B
redundant now.
and, yeah, take
Right.
B language and marry it with, is it number 2?
I think so, yes. It's up here. I'll
Okay,
just the words. All right.
and you can clean it up at
I'll
another
clean
time.
it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll clean that up. Okay. The village did not address whether a smaller field could be constructed at the Zabriskie House to alleviate demand on other fields and a multi-purpose synthetic turf field installed at the site of an existing multi-purpose grass field elsewhere in the village.
All right,
So those are both under existing improvements to existing fields.
okay.
I mean, I guess that's kind of redundant too, but okay, anyway, moving along. The application does not provide sufficient information regarding the potential impacts to and plan for preservation in place of archaeological resources. Specifically, insufficient information has been presented to assess the potential impact on Revolutionary War era landscapes and material culture. And 5, the application does not provide sufficient information regarding the environmental impact of the project, in particular the construction of the turf field on the house and property. Also, the impact of the number of trees that need to be removed on the historic property. Sorry, that's awkward, but
I think you can, yeah, it also does not.
well, if I could type, we'd be fine. There we go. All right.
Okay. So is everyone okay with those 5 items? Go ahead, Michelle.
And I might have missed it because my
Nope.
sound kind of zoned out just from my Wi-Fi here.
That's okay.
The one thing is, and I know there's a lot of last minute things about the lack of kind of a really specific, well thought out historic preservation plan for the site as an educational interpretive
Yes.
structure with with more confirmed commitments from either other organizations or how exactly that area and that building would be enhanced with a timeline, not just kind of, well, maybe this and a proposed that there would be a much more well thought out plan that would be really a very critical part of the whole application.
So we can address that by adding a new number 6 that talks about more concrete information, or as Jennifer's did not provide whatever we want to say, concrete information or committed information about the restoration of the house, however we want to word it. And then when we get to the next section, we can ask for that additional information.
Yeah, it's not just restoration, and it's also the usage, of the plans of.
That's what she has.
Okay,
so the
great.
village, she's
I see.
writing, yeah. So
It
just
was
read what
just
she's writing to make sure that it's in alignment with
Yeah,
what you're
I was
thinking.
just getting a delay on my screen, but I see.
Oh,
it.
sorry. Yeah.
That's okay, thanks.
So maybe we could say the village did not provide an approved plan regarding, if not the interpretation and use, because we previously said we would ask for an interpretation plan as mitigation. But I agree with Michelle, some sort of overall plan that addresses the proposed relationship between this new sporting facility and the house. They talk about, so people come and play sports and then they'll get more interested in history because the house is there, but.
So it would be,
plan.
it would be a, almost like a site usage plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, a site
Even-
usage plan that integrates, perhaps we could say that integrates or synthesizes the historic features of the property and the use for recreational purposes, something like that.
And the relevance. I agree with one of the members of the public that talked about how history has to be relevant. to those
Yeah.
who learn about it. So especially focusing on that, especially with our youth, like they want to know, what does this mean today? And what does this mean? So, and I don't know if this could be brought in, because I know someone brought up the fact that there's absolutely, it seems, no relationship with the schools. So I don't know if this would be part of a broader kind of pushing the city a little, of the village a little, to have a broader effort to incorporate the community into this historic site.
So I think
I will,
that,
yeah, I was just gonna say, I know that there, the schools do have a program, I think, with the Historical Society. I think the issue is that this site, because it hasn't been open to the public, has not been part of that,
Right. Well,
is my understanding.
so that's key. So then it's almost like, how would this site become open to the public and enhanced for the historical and learning that has an opportunity?
okay. So I think that can be added. Again, like there's gonna be, we're almost done with this section. There's the additional information section. And we'll have to determine whether that component gets added to the, if the temporary denial moves forward and it actually gets approved, by the additional information that they provide, we then need to also provide stipulations of, okay, your mitigating stipulations are this, like you need to provide a, interpretive, a use plan that supports how these two new functions now are going to be integrated, or the historic function and the new function are going to be integrated. So we
I
may
like,
not,
excuse me, go ahead.
we may
I'm
not
sorry.
ask for that as the additional information, but we definitely can ask for that in the, like, if this gets approved, once they provide more information, that's something that we'd want to see as a, like a longer term thing.
I have a question. How,
Yes.
I think Megan had mentioned a 60-day completion with the temporary denial with conditions. So how does that, I mean, having developed plans before, I know it can be a very lengthy process. So
So we are not we would not be asking them to like necessarily change their plan. We would, or like provide like full drawings and specifications. That's not what we would be doing for under the 60-day sort of clock. The
Okay.
60-day clock would be for the additional information that we would ask for that would help us to better understand. So like the missing components that we're now saying, like, you don't have this information. So in the next 60 days, we want you to show us that like this is the only place where this can actually happen. You've talked to other boards, or the Board of Education, you've talked to other surrounding communities. You re-looked at the plan, and they could formally submit the plan that they showed today that shows addressing some of the previous comments. Those are kinds of things that they could, the phase 2 archaeological report that hasn't been submitted. Those are the types of things that we would be asking for the next 60 days that we would hope would provide the information that we need to then say, okay, you've done your due diligence. We feel comfortable with that. And then we're going to approve it with these, with these additional conditions. And then the additional conditions would be, which Jennifer has sort of down the bottom, which would be like, you have to have plans and specifications submitted. And then that has its own timeline.
Okay,
Usually that's connected
separate.
with like the construction. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, very much. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I think we're done with the sort of the reasons that we would be temporarily denying the project. And so now we need to list the additional items that we would formally request to be submitted to the preservation office. So the first one that we've got here, so I think maybe the logical thing to do is to go up to items 1 through 6, and
Sure.
then kind of like use that as a guide of what additional to ask for, so that they kind of correlate and that we don't miss anything.
Right.
So the first item is, I think, is looking at, you know, they provided some information or previous information was provided in regards to, you know, a field that was grass and that was smaller. So I think we could, maybe the first item should be reevaluating the size. We're gonna ask the applicant to reevaluate the size of the field at this location.
I think it ties in, Sophia, to me, to the other, our other concerns that other locations, collaboration with the Board of Education or other entities, that it's sort of about not having demonstrated that every possible other alternative has been considered.
Exhausted.
And that,
yeah.
right, that's the information that we want. We want to know that they've consulted with and addressed
Agreed.
potential, you know, in the town, Board of Education,
we need to-
collaborations with.
We need to
And
come
have
up
solid evidence
with
of
some text for that.
Yeah.
I know.
So,
Is that what, I mean, it seems to me that's what we're,
yes, but we need to ask for very
Asking
specific
for.
items, like we want a, you know, a plan or something that provides the additional information that they have, you know, done those things.
yeah.
Is that what you're thinking? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that they
Like
have-
coming up with
yeah.
a list of the things that need to be in the,
Yeah.
Um,
I want
So
me to go
it's
back up to
This
the,
is sort
it's the
of, you
size
know,
of the field. I
mean,
think it's also the location. The size, I'm sorry, the size of the field and the location in proximity to the house.
okay. Should I go back up to 2?
I think 1 and 2 are sort of
Yeah, they're
tied together.
right.
Can we ask them for a specific side-by-side comparison of, you know, the original plan for this nice grass ball field versus this big multi-purpose artificial turf field? I mean, they didn't really give us that because that's not what they're applying for. They're not considering that alternatives. That's what we're saying.
Yes.
Can we ask for some more specific comparison? Yes, we know they want this giant field because they want every sport to be able to be played there. I guess that's the reason. And they want it to be turf so they don't have so much maintenance once it's built. But since so many people we heard from really were hearkening back to that grass ball field as something that was more acceptable, I don't see a sort of a side-by-side comparison because that's not how the application was prepared. I don't know if we can ask for something specific like that.
I think we can ask for, I don't know if it's, I would call it a comparison, but maybe the potential use or design of smaller fields with specific dimensions. They also need to provide specific dimensions for the, and I think of it more like this: specific dimensions for the minimum field, minimum size field, and the maximum. So I believe that right now is designed for the maximum, and we don't even know what those dimensions are. And something that we could ask for is, well, I'm pretty sure that that's your maximum, but Because I don't think that we have that. And the minimum might mean that not everything can be on this field, that it might have to, you know, do some other activities at some other locations.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that gets at what you're asking for, though.
Right, and then you'd have the same thing for the question about impacts, you know.
Yes.
Right, the impacts to the historic house and property are different for building the artificial turf field versus a grass field, and that, I'd like to see that compared.
So I think that if we add a new number 2, which would be the impacts of the turf field, we can add that to a new number 2, which also ties into one of the items above, which is evaluation of the impacts of the installation of the turf field and how that would impact both the site and the site itself, the complete site, the building and the
As a
parcel
whole.
that the field is proposed to be constructed on. And those impacts are both environmental and through construction. Did that make sense? And I think, Jean, that's what you were getting at.
For environmental, including during construction.
I couldn't hear you, Luann, I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say it's the environmental impact of construction and then the environmental impact of the completed new landscape, basically. And yeah, exactly.
And that would be to both that impact to in comparison to field size, the minimum and the maximum size of the fields.
But also grass versus artificial turf. Like they have, I presume they have very different construction and environmental impacts. So that's what I'm asking for, is like, well, if you put them side by side, one of them is going to probably look much more benign in terms of its impacts. I don't know that.
Yeah. Okay.
But see, you wrote number 2 as being just about the turf field.
Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe
Athletic field.
the athletic
Yeah.
field. Thank you. Good catch. Okay. Should I go up to the other? Let's see.
I think archaeology might be next.
Looks like
Did we address the part of the requests that there be consultation with Board of Ed, surrounding communities? I mean, in 60 days, I know they're not gonna be able to get firm commitments. So I don't know what it's realistic to ask for within 60 days, but
I think if you go down, I think it's part of number 1. It's 1C. Luann?
But you wanted
Yeah,
specifically
yeah.
surrounding municipalities.
yeah, yep.
So maybe,
You know, I was thinking back also to Susan's comment about the amount of time it takes to do some of these things. And so
Yeah.
what is it reasonable to us, reasonable to request within 60 days that would be sufficient to say, okay, this, right, all of this consultation is going to happen and a potentially new plan is going to emerge from it. They're certainly not going to have that new plan within 60 days. So what would we accept?
Evidence of an effort to coordinate with other municipalities, at least. Yeah.
And the purpose of that would be to reduce this dire need that Ridgewood has
Yeah.
for more fields.
Right. Right, exactly.
Well, I think, I still think that C and D can be combined, and it's other municipalities and the Board of Education.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Great.
For like a sort of a cooperative
Yeah,
use of fields.
right. You know, a cooperative agreement, so to speak, between various municipalities and other entities within the village that control fields, such as the Board of Education.
Do we want to explain this better? Like what, Sophia, what you said about, well, maybe it doesn't have to be all sports in this, you know, like, or is that just sort of understood that's what we want to be able to evaluate?
We could expand it and we could add a sentence that says, or to clarify that the purpose is to, you know, which I would hope would be implied, but to, you know, in an effort to reduce the
Urgency?
or the
Strain.
yeah, the strain or the
Strain on other resources, yeah.
That's well put.
I guess, and I would add, and the need for such a large field at this location to tie it back to this location.
Mhm.
Such a large field and a turf field.
And a turf field. Or such a large field, I think, comma, specifically a turf field at this location. Does that more clear?
Yes.
Okay. Shall we move on to item number 3, which would be archaeology?
Item number 3, right?
So it says the application does not provide sufficient information regarding the potential impacts to and plan for preservation in place of archaeological resources. Specifically, insufficient information has been presented to assess the potential impact on Revolutionary War era landscapes and material culture. So we need to, if we're going to add, what additional information would you like submitted? In support
So
of
the first thing would be the phase 2 report, completion of the phase 2 report. And again, so I'm thinking about additional research that's needed to understand the full extent of Revolutionary War presence and activity. And I don't know how much, I don't know how much of that has already been done and how much of it might be included in this application to expand the significance of the property.
So when we say additional research regarding Revolutionary War era, what specifically are we looking for?
Who was there? What were they doing on the land? When were they doing it? What potential evidence would have been left by those activities that are now potentially significant archaeological resources? Jean, what else?
That all sounds good. I would also like to know, and coming back to this, what is the difference in the subsurface impact of the maximum and the minimum? I've read through all this stuff and I don't know. So that would
So
just
that could be a
clarify.
3A.
Under 3 itself, Jennifer,
Mhm.
maybe where you
Yes.
have in parentheses there, could you just add, and potential archaeological evidence left, the potential archaeological evidence of these activities?
Sure.
Does anyone know whether the interpretation of the present interpretation of the Zabriskie House includes any of the revolutionary activity on the site?
There is no present interpretation
There
of the
is no
house, I don't believe.
interpretation.
There is
Right.
no interpretation.
There
And
is
the
no
house is
interpretation.
Yeah, the house is 1825, so it would have to be about that little piece of land rather than the structure. If you see what I'm saying.
Right, that's what I was referring to. In other words, does the present interpretation of the Zabriskie
isn't.
House include any of that information about the land? But you're saying that it does not now? It is only an interpretation of the
There is,
original house?
it's
There is
not
no
open to the
interpretation.
public. It's not interpreted at all. Whatever happens out of this will be the first interpretation at the site.
Well, thank you.
So I think for 3A, we need to add at the end, it needs to be, the analysis needs to look at turf versus grass.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else from archaeological perspective? That probably summed it up. So
Mhm.
Jennifer, if you can go back up so that we can see what the next item was. We've addressed 5, I think. Oh, not the landscape
tree
part
part.
of 5.
Yeah, right.
So I'm sorry, can I go back to archaeology for one more
Yeah,
minute? I know that there's
course.
like we talk about, having an historic landscape architect or a specialist in particular areas. And I think when it comes to identifying, assessing the potential kinds of resources left behind by war, we need an archaeologist who has specific experience working on battlefields and associated Revolutionary War sites, because they're going to know in detail what are the kinds of remains that are left behind that could be there. So it's about who the consultant, who the archaeological consultant, what criteria should they meet?
But they already have their consultant, and that all they're doing is writing up their report at this time. They did the work already.
But we're also asking for additional research regarding Revolutionary War activity, who was there, what they were doing, potential evidence, and that the potential evidence and specifically should be being designed and developed by an archaeologist who has that kind of experience. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know, Jean.
Got it. But they're not going to have that in 60 days. So
I know.
we want them to say that they're going to do that, right?
Right.
We want them to have a plan for further research.
I
think
suggest
my
making
concern with a lot
that
of
part a
this-
second.
Say that again,
You know, I
Jennifer.
think so much of what we really think we would want is not going to happen within 60 days. So how is it structured that if, you know, can a decision be made about what the impact of the project is going to be on archaeological resources, let's say related to the Revolutionary War, if that research hasn't been done before the project gets approved? Right, and that may be true with some of these other items. I don't know. I guess, do you hear? I don't know. Do you understand what I'm?
Yes, we do.
I think the only control that we have is that we let's try to be reasonable and ask what we can. And the only other sort of tool that we have is that if the information that we get provided isn't sufficient, then it gets denied. And then they will have to go off and try to get that information. But I don't want to set this up for like they'll never be able to get all of this, you know, information.
Right,
in.
right.
But I think just trying to be reasonable with what could we ask for where we can sort of make a decision, but also if they don't provide the information, then it becomes a denial.
And the specifics that you're talking about, Luann, can be in the conditions if it ends up going to approval with conditions.
Exactly.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we
So
good?
are we good with, so
PLEs?
does that stay there as a commitment or does this become a mitigation? I'm a little confused. I just want to make sure I've got it right.
A commit, well, it's
That could
As you
be
said-
moved to
so it's
a
sort of
committee.
a plan and a commitment to implement the plan for additional research.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think that works.
I think that
Okay.
works.
Okay.
So I think we were on the trees, the
Yeah,
landscape.
so
effects.
B would be a historic landscape assessment of the trees and plantings that are intended to be removed and a mitigation plan based on the impacts of the installation of the athletic field to be completed by a historic landscape architect that meets the standards.
And this they could do in 60 days?
Well, they definitely could. They should already know how many trees they're planning to tear down. What they are planning to, and so basically the second part of that is, what are you planning to, how are you planning to mitigate it? And we're asking them to tell us, if you're tearing down 70 trees, how are you planning to mitigate this?
Can we say something about the trees they already removed? That they should be included in this little census of
Yes,
trees? Because, you know, they already did some of this.
I mean, honestly, if they already have a site plan, they should already know how many trees have
That's
already been
true.
removed and how many are planning to be removed just based off of their proposed site plan. I would presume that they've had a site survey completed already of this
And I
site.
think they did provide a number at some point. I can't tell you what that number was.
I think
off the
it was
top of my
something
head,
like
but
Yeah, I think it was something like 220 trees removed and they're putting 300 in, something like that.
Yeah.
And they
So
only
just-
removed invasive species, that kind of thing. They did say this somewhere.
So I think just have that to be clarified.
Okay.
What does number 6 say?
6 is about the interpretation and use.
Oh, of the house. Okay. I'm not sure that we need more information on that. I think that might actually go with the what do we call it? The mitigation.
Mitigation.
If it gets, yeah, so which I think then becomes a therefore further resolved or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Therefore be it further resolved. And then I think we have to like alternate language a little bit, which I'm sure you could find somewhere else that says, you know, should the above, you know, be provided, then
A caps lock.
we're providing, I mean, you know, the below conditions.
And it's not just that they provide it, but that it's deemed acceptable to
Exactly, yes, that is correct. If the above
recommendation.
Yeah.
is provided and
Yeah.
deemed acceptable, yeah, the following mitigation is recommended.
Okay. I can look at other
And
examples
I'm sure that
too,
there's
make sure.
already language or something for that.
Yeah, I'll grab that.
Okay, so then,
Okay, wait. Now I need to get
that
down to the
one.
one. Here we go. Sorry.
Nope.
Let me just
So-
accept that change so we can
Can
see
I,
better.
yes,
because I'm new.
yeah.
When you say, if they give us all these things that we're asking for and they're accepted, you
If
would
they're-
automatically.
then it be, then it would,
approve?
then it would, yes, then it would be acceptable. Because it's temporary. The denial is only temporary, providing that they provide additional information.
So why? So if they come if they have reasons for saying, oh no, we can't do a grass ball field, the minimum, and their reasons are accepted, is that what you mean? That we
Yeah,
so they go to whatever their plan is at that point, and it's either acceptable or not.
based off of the additional information that will be provided, yes. So they say, okay, we looked at this and we've looked at this and we're providing you the additional information that you asked for. And we said, okay, yes, which could be, again, the revised plan that they presented today saying, okay, so look, we moved this further away from the house. We're providing information saying that we're going to lessen the impact of archaeology, or, you know, those types of things, which are all things that we are asking for, because the denial is only temporary. Once the denial becomes, if they provide information and we say, okay, this is acceptable, then it's no longer a denial.
Sophia, do you want me to reread the last sentence of that one?
Yes,
It's if the applicant submits a complete response, including all information requested by the department, it shall be within the discretion of the department as to refer additional information to the Historic Sites Council, and the department shall make a final determination within 60 days of the response.
so the final determination would be, okay, you provided all of these things. The denial was just temporary. We're reviewing this, and now we're making the evaluation based off of that information. But it's helpful to have the mitigation already in the resolution, because it's some stuff, it's what we've already talked about. And the other part of that is when this gets resubmitted, it doesn't come back before the council. We can have a subcommittee that will work with staff. And I've done this quite a few times where information has been provided, me and someone else got together, we review that information, and then we provide our final recommendation to the staff. Yes.
So Sophia, if you want a subcommittee, that should be specified in the resolution.
Oh, thank you, Megan.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So if they have, if, for example, if they don't convince the subcommittee that their plan is the only way, can the subcommittee say, no, we're denying it? Or
Yes,
is it,
that's why it's a temporary
Yes.
denial.
Do you want to be on the subcommittee?
The answer to that
Meg,
is
where
yes.
does the subcommittee go? Do you know where in the resolution?
That
Oh,
probably has to go up where the additional information has to be submitted.
Like for
looking at your,
consideration?
you want to make it a new one?
I mean, assuming you all want
Be
to. Do
assessed
you
by a
want?
subcommittee?
Uh.
I think we did
What
it
was
with
that?
Flemington and Jen, I don't remember if you were
Yeah.
there. I think it was
I know-
Mary Lou and Sophia.
I know I've done it for at least one, maybe two.
Yeah, that's the only one
Mhm.
I remember ever doing it on, and I can't. I'm scared to go looking for the resolution because I don't want everybody to see my screen.
You couldn't you
We
put
had one
it,
for
the council request the following additional information and will be reviewed by a subcommittee? Something to that effect?
A subcommittee of the Historic Sites Council, no? Yeah.
Correct,
Yes.
thank you.
And we've done that for Princeton once too, as well as maybe.
The Dinky maybe?
That one was a long one too, so that's
Okay.
quite possible.
Yeah.
We've definitely done it in the past.
So do you want to go through the mitigation now?
Yes, please.
Okay. So number one is HABs. I won't bore you with all the details, but basically capturing the existing conditions of the site before any construction takes place. 2 is archaeological monitoring. And it's kind of our standard language. I can
Okay, you don't have to.
let me
read it.
know how quickly or slowly you want me to go through any of this.
I think for that archaeology, we need to wait until the information, is received about the plan for additional research and this phase 2 to decide whether or not monitoring is sufficient. So it would be more,
maybe the monitoring, maybe the number 2 should be, maybe 2 and 3 should be switched.
Because 3 is data recovery. So why don't I?
And then, even after that, they should still have a monitor out there or something like that. So if they end up having to do data recovery, they still might need a monitor during massive earth removal, tree removal.
we also want to make sure that there's the provision that the Sites Council may not accept mitigation plans and may say the plan is insufficient to ensure maximum preservation in place of archaeological resources. To imply that it's not just a, dig it up and you're done approach.
Right.
So should it be kind of in this
We
instead of
could-
as needed? Should there be?
We could
where
start
it
by
belongs, or-
saying if protection of archaeological resources is not feasible or is preservation in place is not feasible, but that should be that should be considered first. I mean, that's always kind of implied, but maybe what Luann is saying, put that up front. If you agree.
Does that?
Well, maybe start by saying that the Sites Council recommends that preservation of archaeological resources in place is preferred. And if that is proven to not be feasible, then blah, blah, blah. So we're saying this is our preference. If it's proven that that's not feasible, then you do these things. Is that acceptable?
I like it.
Lou-
I'm not an archaeologist.
I don't know, Luann. The only problem is here that you'd have to specify what kind of archaeological resources you're talking about. Like
Exactly.
eligible if it was section 106, but it's not, so.
Right, it's not.
You could say significant, you could say eligible, you can say, I don't know, I have a section 106 brain, so I don't know.
No, I know.
Saying though, Luann, that we're not limited to that.
So I think maybe it's going back up above and saying that what we want is a plan to ensure maximum, and we may have said this, to ensure maximum preservation in place of archaeological resources. That's the information that we want. Right, and if,
Up here, you
Could-
think?
and
Or
that,
Could you add that? Could that be in the mitigation? Could that be actually the first item to be requested? And then followed by item number 3, but link them together. So
Right.
it's not a 1, 2, and 3. It's, we want a plan based on what you said, Luann. And then following that,
ensures maximum preservation in place of archaeological resources. Not as preferred, we want that plan.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
and then under that, the next, I don't know if it would be an A or an I.
And then
It would
if
be-
the subcommittee agrees that this is not feasible, or if the plan if the plan states that this is not feasible,
Demonstrates maybe?
yeah, if the plan demonstrates that this is not possible, shall implement a program of data recovery as needed. Or in all cases, in areas where, if the plan demonstrates that preservation in place is not possible in certain areas of the property. And yeah, I think I can live with that.
We requested the phase 2. You requested the phase 2 above. So should we
Yes.
delete this?
Yeah. That's
Jen, did you see Kate supplied the language from the Flemington resolution? If you want to put that in.
Where's she
With
done?
in an email, she sent out like 3:15.
Oh, okay. I'm scared to open my emails because I don't know what people are going to see.
That's not like it's at 3:15.
Okay.
But it's in the event, if the council decides they would like all the additional information to come back to council if there's time. It's tricky because
Oh.
everything has a time frame. It's language that in the event that the requested information comes in the 60-day review period, does not allow time for presentation to the Historic Sites Council
I
at a
see.
regularly
Okay.
scheduled meeting.
Gotcha.
So it's up to the council if they want that in there, but they asked for an example.
Got it.
Jen, you have just in number 2, you have in place twice.
Oh, yes, thank you. Preservation, do we have a preference? Preservation in place, is that better than the other way around?
This is good.
Okay. Okay. All right, sorry, hold on one second. I'm going to throw in the language that.
Okay.
Oh, wait, sorry. Got a lot of now therefores. Okay, so that addresses the meeting. Okay, so back to the mitigation, sorry. So we've got the archaeology, which I think this is all pretty standard, but I'm happy to go as slow or as fast as you want. Sorry, I can't see you anymore because I've opened too many windows now. Okay, there you are. This references the guidelines and such, I think. And then
Should 3
shall we move
be, should that be a
B?
B? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
That keeps all of archaeology together.
Right.
And so this would be for during construction. Like they've gotten through everything and
Yes.
they're going to construction. This is during construction.
Okay. We good?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So the next one was the interpretive signs that they said they would install in the
Okay.
park. 4 is a revised landscape plan to use more an enhanced buffer and the use of native plantings.
I think actually that language goes into the section above.
Okay, so you want the full revised landscape plan, or you want?
No, I think you can leave it here. Just thinking.
Okay.
I think you can leave it here. I think we've referenced additional information, but you can leave it here.
Okay, all right.
So,
Um,
so do you
sorry.
want,
Yeah.
does all of this stuff still need to refer to the artificial turf field? Like, is this,
Yeah.
I'm just
If we
afraid
can-
if we're saying that in every paragraph, then it's sort of a foregone conclusion already.
Yeah.
So I think Jennifer can go through it and just make sure it says athletic field instead of
I'll highlight that as a reminder
Sure.
to myself to check
to
it. catch.
remove that reference.
Sure. All right, so 5 gets into the proposed history and cultural center. And And the next few are kind of all related to that. So maybe they should have been grouped together, but at any rate, they're not at present.
It's okay.
So an operations and management plan with more specifics about, what they're proposing to do there. And a financial plan. The original proposal didn't have any financing behind it, so we included a financial plan as part of this.
Okay.
Okay. 7 is an interpretive display commemorating the National America 250 initiative. This is something that they, again, proposed as part of this History and Cultural Center, but we pulled it out as a specific mitigation item.
Okay.
8 is an exhibit about the Zabriskie House. Also, it was also something that they had proposed that we pulled out as a specific ask. And then 9, I haven't read because I didn't include it in the original draft that you saw, but I realized later that I forgot to ask for the final plans and specifications for the park. So that's what 9 is.
Okay.
Prior to bidding.
What was that?
So I have a few comments on the
Sure.
History Center.
Yes.
So the first is that we above indicated that we wanted a plan for more expansive research on the Revolutionary War presence. So we would want that plan to be implemented. Perhaps it would be in association with the development of the exhibition for the 250th. Shall incorporate additional research, completed in implementing the plan outlined in whatever section.
The above referenced plan. I can figure out a more specific way to reference that.
Thanks. And the second one is really, I think, for discussion, because I really think this center needs to not be Ridgewood specific. I think that if they're serious about a history center, then it needs to be in collaboration with and discussions with other Bergen County historical organizations and historic properties. Or else it should just be a Village of Ridgewood History Center if we all agree that that would be sufficient.
Which paragraph are we talking about?
In 8, I think, because here we've put in a exhibit
farther
about
up,
the Zabriskie House.
Farther up.
Yeah,
Oh.
further.
It's farther up.
Oh, you mean?
Goes
Oh,
up.
wait. Oh,
It's this,
Here.
5.
for the proposed History and Culture Center. Because right now it's just, it's just the partnership with the town
Right,
historical
okay,
society
yep.
and the library. And I think if we agree that that's enough, then it's a Ridgewood History and Cultural Center. If we really think we want to require a county-wide center, then that requires much more investigation and collaboration and conversation and discussion with other county historical properties, organizations, agencies, etc.
And of course, noting that during that period, the historic period we're talking about, Bergen County included Passaic County as well. What is now Passaic County as well.
So that really depends on what other folks feel about what would be, acceptable mitigation if the project goes forward.
We could just say as well as within the wider Bergen County
Region.
conservation or historical, whatever you would,
Yeah, I think,
not real concrete, but or maybe something about, and as well as organizations within the wider Bergen County. So that, identify them, reach out to them, plan alongside them, but, right. So Luann, are you saying maybe it shouldn't be countywide?
I think if they want to call it a Bergen County History and Cultural Center, it's got to be a Bergen County History and Cultural Center. If we agree that they just, do something at this site that focuses on Ridgewood, then what they've proposed is fine. And then it's a Ridgewood History and Cultural Center. My preference is Bergen County-wide, but it's a big difference in terms of effort.
that's true.
So it's right.
But it's
so
what-
it will
But it's what they've
depend
already
on what-
pitched.
That is true,
Right.
Jean.
Yeah.
It's what they've already said that they would do. I don't have any problem with the way the text is written right now.
I think we could leave it at that.
Okay.
Okay.
So then, so we were good with 8 then, with having an exhibit about the house. It was just the overall thing. I mean, eventually they'll want to do other stuff, obviously, but having something about the house is okay.
Absolutely.
It's
About
the
the
house
property.
and the property, right? Not just the house.
Yeah. Yeah, the house and property.
It's the property.
Yeah, it does reference the archaeology and stuff, so I think that was the
Okay.
intent. But yes,
Okay. So that we can wrap this up, can you go to the top
sure.
and just take us through what we have so that we can all just kind of hear it one more time?
Okay.
Thank
From
you.
the beginning of the now therefore be it resolved, or just the newer stuff? From the
Right
beginning?
here.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All
Thank
right.
you.
I just want to make sure. Yep. So now therefore be it resolved, blah, 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 the temporarily deny for the following reasons. The applicant previously provided an alternative that was submitted to the HPO, reviewed and received a conceptual approval that meets the Secretary of Interior standards for treatment of historic properties. Though I need to rework this because it's got a lot of redundancy in it, but you get the idea. The proposed multi-purpose athletic field will introduce visual, audible, and atmospheric elements that are out of character with the registered property and is incompatible in size, scale, and materials. Therefore, does not meet the Secretary of the Interior standards. The village did not sufficiently address whether improvements to other existing fields in the municipality could address the project need, particularly in combination with the construction of a smaller grass field at the Zabriskie House. Sufficient information was not provided addressing potential collaboration with other field owners, such as the Board of Education and other surrounding communities, to address the need for field usage. And the village did not address whether a smaller field could be constructed at the Zabriskie House to alleviate demand on other fields, and a multi-purpose synthetic turf field installed at the site of an existing multi-purpose grass field elsewhere in the village. The application does not provide sufficient information regarding the potential impacts to and plan for preservation in place of archaeological resources. Specifically, insufficient information has been presented to assess the potential impact on Revolutionary War era landscapes and material culture. The application does not provide sufficient information regarding the environmental impact of the project, in particular the construction of the turf field on the house and property. It also does not address the impact of the number of trees that need to be removed on the historic property. The village did not provide a plan for the interpretation and use of the house and its relationship to the overall park development that integrates the historic features of the property and the proposed use for recreational purposes, focusing on the relevance of the historic site. The council requests the following additional information. Actually, the stuff about the subcommittee is kind
Can I
of low
just,
now. Yeah.
just go back to that one and just say focusing on the contemporary relevance? Is that what, I think it was Michelle was raised that point, or was getting at, focusing on the contemporary relevance?
That is contemporary with us.
Yeah, that it's relevant. How is it relevant to us? If it's not relevant, then, right? Then why should people care?
Right. Is that good?
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Next.
No,
Yep.
that's fine. The council requests the following information. Evaluation of the following alternatives. Reevaluation of the size of the field and its location and proximity to the house. Specific dimensions of the minimum and maximum size field, including single sport and multi-sport options. Evidence of efforts to coordinate with other municipalities and other groups in the village that own fields, such as the Board of Education, regarding the potential use of fields in an effort to reduce the strain on the existing athletic fields and the need for such a large field, specifically a turf field, at this location. Evaluation of the impacts of the installation of the athletic field, specifically environmental impacts to the site, building and property, including construction and the completed project. The analysis should address minimum and maximum sizes of the field and grass versus turf. Historic landscape assessment of the trees and plantings that are intended to be removed, and a mitigation plan based on the impacts of the installation of the athletic field to be completed by a historic landscape architect that meets the standards. The assessment should include trees already removed as part of previous work on site. Further assessment of archaeological resources, specifically submission
Sorry,
of the
can I go
phase.
back?
Oop, yeah. Sorry, I should be stopping.
Go back to 2A. Do we
Yes.
need to specify what the background and training and authority of whoever does the environmental impacts be? Right, who's going to assess the environmental impact? Somebody who, I don't know what the appropriate term is, an environmental impact specialist, can somebody help me out here? Environmental scientists.
How about by a qualified professional? Is that specific enough?
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Further assessment of archaeological resources, specifically submission of the Phase 2 archaeological survey report, a plan and commitment to implement a plan to complete additional research regarding Revolutionary War era activity, who was there, what they were doing, and potential archaeological evidence of these activities to be designed and developed by an archaeologist with specific knowledge of Revolutionary War sites, and analysis of the difference in impacts on archaeological resources between the minimum and maximum size athletic fields, as well as turf versus grass fields.
Can I think there's one thing I want to add.
Mhm.
If we can go
Yep.
go back up to keep going. Under item number 2, I think probably would be a good place. That, and so although we were shown a potential plan, I think of some changes, I think it should be listed here. And either you can make it A or you can make it C, I don't really care, about reevaluating the current plan to ensure that the potential athletic field is as far away from the historic house as possible. the removal, the non-use of bleachers, there was something else.
Yeah,
I just want
there's,
to capture this. I just want to
mhm,
capture this
the
so
added
that,
trees.
oh, yes, and an additional vegetation buffer with adjacent property owners. Between the property and adjacent property owners.
I have a question
Yes,
about what you're saying that just made me think about it. Since they're removing the bleachers, which is, fine, should there be a designated seating area? And should that be shown where they expect that designated seating area to be? People will be coming and setting up
yeah,
their own seating, even though the bleachers aren't there.
I think that's a good, yeah, so I think it's sort of an indication of where teams and spectators are planned to sort of set up and occupy during these games.
And I had one other question that I don't think, the other question would be if there is going to be in this facility any kind of storage area for equipment, my concern is that it not be the house.
Yes. So, so I think we can add another line, that says, or after,
Sorry.
still on C, but then just instead of there being comma, put a period and put, the plan needs to clarify, how storage for activities will be addressed on site. How the need for storage.
And
Of
can I
athletic-
just,
Sorry, go ahead.
of equipment maybe, need for storage of
Right.
equipment?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, like nets and bases and all the other types of things that are part of athletic fields, public athletic fields.
Also, when we say additional vegetative buffer between historic property and adjacent property owners, also additional vegetative buffer between the Zabriskie House and the athletic facility, as well as between the historic prop. See what I mean? We talked about this last
right.
month.
Yes, you
To
are
enhance
correct.
that buffer
It was
between
the house and that's
Yes.
correct.
Still on the historic sites council. Sorry about it.
And then at the end, should we specify that equipment should not be stored in the house?
How about we put comma excluding the use of the house?
Sure.
Okay.
No, so when you say, sorry, additional vegetative buffer between the Zabriskie House and the athletic facility and between the historic property and adjacent, right? These are two different vegetative buffers that we're talking about. It gets to be a really long sentence.
Yes, it does. All right.
Stick in some semicolons.
She'll clean it up.
I can clean it up some. Sorry.
Okay, that was my addition. I was thinking about, and I thought that we should formally capture it, even though something was sort of shared.
Sure.
I'm good with this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay.
So I think
All
now
right.
you can go on to the now therefore be it further resolved.
Okay, be it further resolved that the council further recommends that in the event the requested information comes in and the 60-day review period does not allow time for its presentation to the Historic Sites Council at a regularly scheduled meeting, a subcommittee of Historic Sites Council members will review the documentation in order to meet the 60-day review period. And then we have more further resolved that should the provided information be deemed acceptable and the project approved, then recommends, I don't know, I'll have to work on that language. This is kind of,
I'm sure there's other language for that too.
yeah, with
Okay.
the following mitigation.
And I think you just go down to
Okay,
and what
Yep.
we changed.
okay, yep. So, can I scroll down?
You're good. Oh
Okay,
yeah. So the archaeological plan would be, we went through that.
right. And then that's all the standard language. Then archaeological monitoring during construction, standard language. Then we're into the interpretive signs, landscape plan.
Yep.
Operations and management plan, financial plan. The America 250 exhibit. Exhibit of the house and final plans and specifications.
Okay. Now, do the first and seconds approve the resolution as changed?
I approve.
Thank you. Flavia? Where'd Flavia
Yes.
go?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay.
I
Okay.
approve.
Megan, remind me, do we have to identify the subcommittee now, or we can? Oh, think so.
I don't know. I think you should, just based on how
Probably.
hard it is to, you guys are lovely, but it's easier to talk with you when you're present. Do you want to do that before you take a vote, or why don't you take a vote first?
We could take a vote first.
Okay, are you ready?
Yep.
Sophia Jones Bradford,
Yes.
Flavia Laya,
Yes,
Luann DeCunzo,
Yes.
Michelle Glassberg,
Yes.
Dean Housen,
Yes,
and Susan Ryan.
Yes.
Okay, so you have 6 yeses. Do you want to pick your subcommittee or give your final guidance to the applicant?
So I'm gonna ask for who would like to be in a subcommittee first.
Sure.
And then I'll follow up. So normally it's at least 2 people. I would even say that it needs to at least be one of our archaeologists, since we're asking for that information. I will volunteer to be part of the subcommittee. And anyone else that is interested can as well, but I would also ask that at least one of the archaeologists be included on that.
can you do it, Luann?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so is anybody else interested? Please don't all raise your hand all at one time.
I am interested because I'm
Flavia, okay,
a special interest in that area. Thank you.
okay, sounds good.
Okay,
Anybody
okay,
else?
so
So me,
so I have
Flavia,
Sophia, Flavia, right, Luann?
Yep.
Are you fine with 3? It just can't be
Yeah.
quorum.
that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I want to thank everyone for your patience. I know this has been a very long process. We appreciate everyone's time, for everyone that called in, that participated in this process. And so this will be the recommendation that we will be providing to the commissioner. And so that closes this application. And we're going to move on to review the additional business on the agenda. I believe I know Rutgers was on the agenda, but we are not doing that one today, correct? Okay, because we did, so, I don't know if Kate or Megan, I just want to confirm that they're not on the call, right?
No, we, since I'm Rutgers, we were notified
Oh.
last week by Emma
Thank
that
you.
we would not be appearing today.
Got you, okay. I wasn't, when I spoke to Kate.
We lose
yesterday, I
quorum.
wasn't-
Yeah.
I know we lose quorum, yes, and we need some more
Yeah.
people to come back to the table. So thank you. Okay, so the next thing we have, I think, are minutes from the previous meeting that need to be adopted.
Did or not, yes. I move
I-
adoption of the minutes.
Okay, thank you. And those are from December 19th, 2024. We have to do that first. I don't think there weren't minutes from July, right?
No, because we didn't,
No. So from
they're not
December.
done yet.
Okay, so from December.
Yeah.
I am not gonna lie,
But
I
yeah,
don't remember
I guess you
who
could have
was,
voted on them, but you'll get 2 months in one next time, I guess.
who was on the December meeting really is the question.
Not me.
I Understood.
Yeah, I don't think any of the new members were there.
No, it would have been probably me, Flavia, Luann.
Mary Lou, maybe, because you would have needed 4, and I don't think Bob was there. So can you even do it, or do
Robert
you have to wait?
probably on.
Then, okay, let's table it to next time.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, all right. Now for the most exciting part of this, or non-exciting. All right, so we have we have a nomination committee here. Who's our nomination committee and who are you nominating?
Oh, I am on the nomination committee, as is Flavia.
That is Flavia. Okay,
Yeah, and we got, well, I personally got no traction on
You got-
requests for officership, so you're condemned to doing it, to
Okay.
carrying on.
okay. I guess you're formally nominating me.
Oh,
I love how you say I'm condemned.
Unless we
to-
nominate someone right here.
Very
I mean,
positive.
Privilege,
Very good
privilege
at
and
it.
honor you're supposed to be.
I did speak with Jean and with Michelle, and we all kind of were in agreement that we needed a little bit more acclimation before we're ready
Understood.
to step into the role, and that we were all very impressed by how you handled the July meeting. So
Thank you. I will promise you that this is not the norm. How these things go. We do normally we can do these like go the gamut. It can be like this, and this was really kind of like trial by fire for you being new, but also there are times where we can get through 3 applications and in one day, and things kind of move forward pretty quickly. Overall, this is sort of the usual format, but this was definitely a tough one to sort of for your first application. So I'm honored, and I will continue. I gave it up for what, like 6 months? I think I was only vice chair for 6 months, but it is what it is. So that's fine. I think
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
The small issue that we might have, though, is that if we do not have at least a vice chair, while I am usually available, sometimes I do travel. Like I am in Texas today. I was in California this week, and I'm going back to California next week. So I'm not always available, and we do need someone to be willing to, if by some chance I'm not able to do this, to say, hey, I'll step in, and you will get plenty of notice, and we'll get plenty of guidance on what you need to do, but we kind of do need a vice chair. And I will do my best to not miss meetings, but I can't promise that I'm not going to miss meetings, because it has happened where I've had to do my paycheck job and actually go be somewhere. Okay. So, let's just keep that in mind. And I think for maybe just for right now, we'll vote on the chair position just so that it can be formally adopted. And then, I don't know, we've never had to do this before, but I don't know if there's a way that maybe in January or something like that, once people get more of a chance to sort of attend more meetings where we can try to get a vice chair on board. I don't know how that will go. I'm just making up stuff as I go, but we need a vice chair.
You're doing okay.
Okay, all right. Any recommendations here? Megan, you have a perplexing look on your face.
Well, I'm looking to see if Kate's still on because I don't
Oh,
know if you can do that. Maybe you can.
I don't know. We probably can. I'm just making
Yeah,
up
like I
stuff.
can't whip out the bylaws quite as quickly as I can whip out.
Oh, Kate's on.
I know.
It's
right there.
probably not even allowed, but I'm just making up stuff, but she is there.
I mean, the bylaws say that the election of officers happens at the first meeting of the year, which is the first scheduled meeting of the state fiscal year, which is the August meeting. It's silent about whether that can happen in part, part now and part later. I think we would probably have to look at Robert's Rules of Order in more detail to see kind of how that is handled.
Well, if I
go ahead, Flavia.
recall Robert's rules, I don't know whether you can table nominations for officers, but that's an option if we want to all accept that option, that we postpone the matter until the next meeting. And we
For the
move to
vice chair.
postpone it. Okay. So moved if you want that motion.
For just the vice chair, correct?
Yeah, just vice chair. Yeah.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that? I know this is a bit unconventional, but we need to sort of reestablish the chair position, which kind of isn't really established right now. So to at least make that established, and then I'm going to try to convince somebody else to take
Yeah.
the vice chair position.
Can you do that as one motion to basically nominate you, Sophia, and table the election of the vice chair to whatever meeting you just said? I can't remember.
I like that.
Good word.
I like that too. I'll go with that.
I'll go with that too.
Kate,
Okay.
are you okay? Is that kosher enough?
I mean, it's fine by me. I think the first meeting of the calendar year would be scheduled for February.
Yes, that's correct. And I think that should give enough time to sort of get people more comfortable with how this works. Yes. All right.
That means
So,
Sophia
Megan.
has to attend October and December because otherwise we don't have a chair.
I know, and I am going to do my best to make sure that I protect those dates as best I can. So, no guarantee that I will be in New Jersey, but I will be somewhere on a computer like I am today in my 10-year-old niece's room. Texas.
Cute.
Okay, so Megan, can you do the roll call for me, please?
Wait, we have a first. We need a second.
Oh yeah, we need a second.
Flavia was the first.
Susan and Flavia are the nominated.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
Sophia,
Yes.
Flavia,
Yes.
Luann,
Yes.
and Michelle,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
Susan.
Yes.
By the way,
Anonymous.
if we're trying to observe the rules, some simulacrum of Robert's rules, the presiding chair is the last person to be asked for a vote, not the first.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So I'll remember that in January, right? February.
February.
Okay. Every day I learn something new.
All right.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank you guys so much for hanging in there. We did not stop for lunch or another break, and I know I'm hungry. I know you guys are too. Thank you so much and
Thank
everyone
you.
else that's still on for the participation. And I hope you guys have a good weekend, and we will talk again in October. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.